என்னாச்சு? பேச நல்லா இல்லை. உட்காராமா இருக்கு. ஃபேஸ் பாடி இருக்கு. உட்காரன்னா ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ண வேணும். தட்ஸ் ஆல். இதுதான் ஃபோக்கஸ். வரே just little bit, take some time though. இதெல்லாம் இருக்கு. என்னென்ன இருக்குது? சேர் இருக்கா? சேர் இருந்தால் ஃபேஸ் இருக்கு. ஃபேர் வேணும்.
இப்பதான் வந்து சார், இன்னும் வரல. அப்படியே ஒரு நழகா இருக்குது. நிஜம் இல்லை.
அது அட்ஜஸ்ட் இஸ் அங்கே ரெடி ஆச்சா? Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi and we are at this Sloka 7. Let's chant this Sloka 7. Masabda Yuga Kalpeshu Masabda Yuga Kalpeshu Gada Gamyeshvane Katha Gada Gamyeshvane Katha Nodeti Nastamecheka Nodeti Nastamacheka Samvidesha Swayam Prabha Samvidesha Swayam Prabha. So we will analyze the first line. Masa Abda Yuga Kalpeshu. So essentially, and Gada Agamyeshu, in the past and the present, in the continuously, because the time is continuous, and we have the Masa Abda Yuga Kalpeshu, and we mentioned that even though the physical body is separated from the subtle body, the death is nothing but subtle body getting separated from the physical body. Subtle body is never created. It is a beginningless, because avidya is beginningless, ignorance is beginningless, karma is beginningless. Therefore, everything is within the transactional vyavaharika satyam is beginningless. But it can end, because avidya can end. Avidya means ignorance. Ignorance can end. Ignorance has to be beginningless. So when you ask when did the ignorance start, it cannot start. So I don't know chemistry. Since when you don't know chemistry? What do you mean since when? From the beginning I don't know chemistry. From the beginning means ignorance cannot have any beginning, any time. If it has a beginning, that means before that I am a knowledgeable. A knowledgeable person cannot become ignorant. And therefore, ignorance cannot have any beginning, whether it's objective ignorance or the Mula Vidya. Thola Vidya or Mula Vidya cannot have a beginning. But it can end with knowledge. How does the knowledge takes place? Through Pramana. Remember, Pramata, Prameyam and Pramana. Prama means knowledge. In order for the knowledge to take place, these three has to operate. Pramata has to be there, knower has to be there, Prameyam has to be there, the object has to be there, and Pramana should operate for these two depending upon the Prameyam. Pramana is. For an object to see, I need eyesight. For an object to hear, I need a capacity to hear. All that is implied in this Pramana. And that which cannot be seen, it can be inferred. There is Anumana Pramana. And that which cannot be inferred, I need a Sabda Pramana. Someone has to tell me that what's happening there. So I need some kind of means for me to know, and that's what is pramana is. That connects the pramata, the knower, and prameyam. And we have exhaustively analyzed who is pramata, who is a knower. Knower consists of three components. Number one, the original consciousness. Number two, the buddhi, the reflecting medium. And number three is the reflection itself of the original consciousness in the reflected medium, making buddhi as though, quote unquote, a conscious entity. And therefore, each buddhi or each subtle body operates as though it is an independent. Moon is different, and Venus is different, and the Mars is different. Each one is reflecting originally the sunlight. I am able to see them because of the sunlight only. There is no change in the sunlight. Sunlight is sunlight. And the part of the sunlight that is falling on the moon is different from the part of the sunlight that is falling on the Mars, or falling on the Earth, or falling on the other planets. That is even though sunlight cannot be parted, it's as though part of it is falling. Same way, pure consciousness being infinite, it as though falls on the local individual subtle bodies, making those subtle bodies as though conscious entity by reflecting them, reflecting consciousness. So that's what is essentially original consciousness has to be there to reflect. And you need a reflecting medium that has a capacity to reflect. Only subtle body can reflect the consciousness. And we have the reflected consciousness. All three components involved in the pramata, knower. So who is a real knower? If you want a real knower, it is actually original consciousness only, because without that there is no consciousness. One I am saying I am conscious of, that's because of the original consciousness. But reflecting medium is helping in order to by reflection process. So buddhi, gaining consciousness, borrowed consciousness. So when I say I am conscious of, and the buddhi says it's only borrowed consciousness. So viveka is to discriminate what is the original consciousness and what is really the reflecting medium, separate from it, and reflecting consciousness, and recognize that the original consciousness is the one that is really making the buddhi to be conscious of things around. So when the death is nothing but separation of the subtle body from the gross body. Why does it separate? Because that body is no more conducive for exhausting next set of vasanas. So where does it go? It goes to a place where it can exhaust the next set of vasanas. So it travels to different lokas. So the subtle body can never disappear until self-realization occurs. Until moksha, this whole process goes on. Therefore, it goes from one loka to other loka, and then shine punyam archilokam shanti. After exhausting all that punyam, you again come back to the earth, again taking another birth and go back. So masa abda yuga kalpeshu. So therefore it goes on and endless, beginningless, endless. It can end when I have moksha. That we'll talk about later. So gata and agata, agamyeshu, that which is past and the future, anekata, in varieties of objects in different lokas and different worlds, and waking and dream and deep sleep state in different worlds also. And all that is being experienced because there is one experiencer, knower, that is pure consciousness reflected in the subtle body. That's it together, the OC, original consciousness, the RM, the subtle body, reflecting medium, and Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness. And this is what is called Abhasavada. This Avachedavada we'll talk about later, but at least this is the clear understanding of what a Jiva is. And the reflecting medium depends upon the medium nature, purity of the reflecting medium, and therefore the mind can be purified, and the one who is a purified mind is what in the Krishnamurti philosophy is unconditioned mind. It is still a mind, but all the impurities are removed. But he says, don't ask, there is no process for it. but process is there according to Vedanta through Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Upasana Yoga. The yoga makes the mind pure so that it can reflect the consciousness completely in all its brilliance. And that's what is essentially. Original consciousness is all pervading, infinite, and it need not be known and cannot be known also. There is nowhere known duality there. Okay, we'll go into more details when it comes. It says, no deeti, na udeti, no deeti, na udeti, na astameti. Neither it's born nor it dies. What is that which is not born? Two things are not born. Number one, the pure original consciousness is never born. The reflecting medium, the subtle body is also not born. Only thing that's born is taking the matter, the Bhautik Sariram is where I enter into the Bhautik Sariram in a particular yoni and take up that particular body in order to exhaust those experiences that can be exhausted in that body. So depending upon the nature of the vasanas, I am taking different births. So I may be in the Manushya Loka. In the Manushya Loka, there are different varieties. There are 80,000 varieties of species are there, and I can take different lives in different. One can be a mosquito, can be a plant, depending upon the nature of the vasana that need to be exhausted. So respect for life comes because it's only a body that is different thing. It's a subtle body that is entering. Life is still reflecting because the reflection of the consciousness, and one has to recognize and respect life also in the process. And in my case, I am taking different bodies. So Masa Abda Yuga Kalpeshu, and there is no birth of the consciousness. There is no birth of the reflecting medium. We say it's Anadi, beginningless, and there is no reflection. Original consciousness cannot be having a birth. If it is a birth, then what was there before the birth? So existence alone was there before creation. What was there before existence, you cannot ask, because then you cannot say non-existence was there before creation. If non-existence was there, that means non-existence was existing. So that means it's a contradiction in words. So existence also, the scripture itself says Tadaikshata not Tadek Ahuhu Asateva Idamagramasid. Some say that non-existence was there before. From the non-existence, existence came. How can that be possible? How can you say non-existence was existing? If it's existing, then it's existence only. So it is a ridiculous statement. Therefore, you cannot have nothing there. Even in the Big Bang theory, you can ask, what is Big Bang? You can ask, where did the material come for the Big Bang? What was there before Big Bang? If you ask the question, that questions cannot be asked even. Why? Because Big Bang is itself a singularity. In the mathematics, you cannot ask anything before that. The time concept itself starts with the Big Bang only. Space, what was there? So where did the Big Bang occur? Where is the concept of space? And space itself is coming with the Big Bang only. So where did the Big Bang occur? Everywhere. Wherever the observer is there, and where is the observer coming into picture? So it's navudeti, nastameti. There cannot be birth of consciousness. If there is a birth of consciousness, who will be conscious of the birth of the consciousness? Then if one is conscious of the birth, then consciousness was there before. So navudeti, nastameti. There cannot be end of consciousness. How do you know there is no end of the consciousness? Then if there is the end of the consciousness, who will be conscious of the end of the consciousness? That who is conscious of the end of consciousness should be there all the time, and that is what we are talking about. So navudeti, nastameti, samvid esha, swayam prabha. So how do you know that consciousness is there? It is that esha, samvit, that consciousness is. How am I going to realize? Who is going to realize? When I realize it, who will know it? All these questions are there. says Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha, it's self-shining. It reveals itself. Don't worry about it. You just contemplate on it and shift your mind in the direction to differentiate what is, using Viveka, what is that I am in these changing things. Because in every knowledge, these two things are there. The Pramata and Prameyam is there. I have to differentiate cognitively the Pramata, knower conscious entity, from the unconscious entity. That process, then who is going to realize? It is self-revealing. There is no palavyapti. That's what is called. There is no palavyapti. The technical word, there is no palavyapti. For Tula Vidya means ignorance of an object. There is the thought rises, then when the consciousness is revealing the thought, then the knowledge occurs where? In the mind. There is a knowledge of the object is there. Palam is there. Now I know this is a pot. You cannot say, now I know I am the pure consciousness. Who is going to say that? Now I know who is. If he will keep quiet, because it's a jnanam, is that I am all the time. It is self-revealing and self-conscious. So that's why we give example of a dark, in the pitch dark room, and say, are you there? Says, yes, I am there. I don't know whether other objects are there because I cannot see, but I know I am there. But how do you know? You cannot see yourself, it's too dark. So I don't need to see myself. I am self-existing. Because I am there, I can see everything else. But for me to know that I am there, I don't need a pramana. I don't need a means of knowledge, because I am self-revealing. For anything else, I need a pramana. Then where is Vedanta pramana? You say, we need a Vedanta to know myself. Vedanta pramana to remove the ignorance, and ignorance that is blocking it. And when the ignorance is removed, it is self-revealing. Meghapayam sumaniva. Shankara, that's why he's coming back here in the later sloka. It says, when the clouds are covering, he says, I cannot see the sun. The clouds say, today is also cloudy there. So, I cannot see the sun. Why? Clouds are covering. How do you know clouds are covering? I can see. What? That clouds are covering. In what light do you see that clouds are covering? In the sunlight only. So in the sunlight that I am seeing, and I cannot see, the clouds are covering, and the clouds that are covering, I cannot see the sun. Why? Because clouds are covering. What should I do to bring the sun into so that I can see the sun? Bring the sun here. No. Just remove the clouds. When the wind blows and the clouds are removed, then what else I had to do? Nothing to do. Sun will be self-shining, is self-revealing. And therefore, Swayam Prabha, I don't need a light to see another light. So, I keep forgetting, in the Sureshwara Acharya, talks about this beautifully. So when I am entering into a pitch dark room, and the pitch dark room, I cannot see anything, so therefore I am carrying a torch light, and I put a focus of the torch light on the object for me to see. And I focus here, I see a chair there, and I see focus there, I see a table there. Like that I am focusing, my light is focusing on a particular object because it's a small torch light. And I am able to reveal that object in the light of that is falling. And once I see, then I know that object is there. At that I am looking around, suddenly I saw a pot. And for that I had to focus it. Without torchlight I could not have seen that there is a pot there. So when I focused the light there, I saw a pot there. But pot is upside down. Somebody has put the pot upside down. So out of curiosity, I went there and lifted the pot. And when I lifted the pot, then I see inside there is a candle that is burning. And now, to see the candle that is burning, do I have to use a torchlight there? No, because it's self-revealing. It's a light itself. I don't need another light to see a light. Therefore, once I remove the pot, But to see the pot that is inverted, I need the light. But to see the candle inside that is burning, I don't need any more light. In the same way, I need a Vedanta Pramana to remove the obstacle. That's what you're going to talk in later, Pratibandham. To remove the obstacle, I need a Jnana Vritti. To remove Ajnana Vritti. And in the process of removal, it is self-revealing, there is no the Palavyapti. Therefore, it is the light itself. Therefore, because it is Swayam Prabha. So, in the pitch dark room, I know I am there. I am self-shining, Swayam Prabha. And that's what here he says that no deti nastametyeka sambidesha Swayam Prabha. So, this is exhaustive. We did the sloka 7. Now, we'll go to the 8th sloka. Yamatma paranandaha, yamatma paranandaha, parapremaspadam yataha, parapremaspadam yataha, manabhuvam hi bhuyasam, manabhuvam hi bhuyasam, iti prematmanichyate, iti prematmanichyate, yamatma paranandaha, Parapremaspadam yataha manabhuham bhuyasam iti prematmanichyate. So, iyam atma, this atma, here using the word, says Sambit, he is moving, taking the word atma, the self. This atma that we have been talking about, that is pure consciousness that I am, which is Swayam Prabha, which is self-fulfilling, which involves the OC, the reflect OC, the original consciousness, and the reflecting medium, and the reflected consciousness, or in the language of this one, the pure Satchidananda and the Antahkaranam, the Sukshma Sariram and the Chidabhasa. All three are involved here, and that we call it in that. Using Viveka, I am recognizing the original consciousness in this process, and that's called Atma. Iyam Atma. This is Parananda. Parananda is supreme, a source of supreme happiness. And therefore, Parama Premaspadam yataha. Yataha, because of this, Parama Prema, because this is Parananda, it is supreme happiness, therefore it is Parama Premaspadam. It is the most lovable thing in the world. Parama Prema. So this, you love that Atma. Is that really? I didn't know that. So, Iyam Atma Paranandaha. So this is a statement. We have to get into a little bit analysis here. He's going to provide anyway. Yam Atma Parananda. This Atma is a declarative statement. Until now, we are talking about the existent part and consciousness part. Now he is introducing the Ananda part. The Satchit that we are talking about, because it was Samvit, it is conscious entity, and we are not talking about non-existent consciousness. Therefore, we are talking about that which is existent also. So that is Satchit, because the subtle body reflects both the existence and the consciousness. In the gross body or in the matter, only reflects the existent part, not the conscious part. And even in the subtle body, Ananda is not reflected. In the gross body, in the matter also, Ananda is not reflected. Ananda gets reflected only when the subtle body is completely pure, calm, unagitated. One is happy only when is warm, calm, quiet and unagitated, he is happy. And therefore, that means pure, the Satchid Ananda, the Ananda part also get reflected only in the medium of reflection is unagitated or pure subtle body. That's why we want a purity of the body. So, Iyam Atma Paranandaha. And that Atma that we are talking about, Atma is supreme happiness or supreme source of happiness, or its nature itself is happiness. Its Swarupam itself is Anand. But here Parama is talking about degrees, supreme compared to other things. So compared to all other things that gives happiness, this is the highest source, highest course. That's why I have to go after it. Why am I going after any object? Because I think that gives happiness. Now, if I recognize that this is the one that gives the highest happiness, then I have to go for it, because this is where the investment, maximum return in the investment. We invest in particular stocks only because I get a better return. So that's why that's how I live in the life, putting in this stock and in that stock and that, and keep moving from one stock, taking out and putting another, because the other one is giving better returns. But if the return is the most supreme, highest return, then I put all my stocks, withdraw everything and put it there. So if Atma or the self is the highest source of happiness, then why am I going after other things? This is what has to be recognized. I am going after other things because they are giving happiness. But the happiness that I get other things is small compared to this one. So let me invest all my efforts into something that I get better returns. And that's what is to be recognized. That's what the pursuit for highest life is. Anyway, if I am satisfied with the small petty happiness, then go after that. That's all is. Until you realize that happiness is also from the other one only. We'll see that. Iyam Atma Paranandaha. It is supreme happiness. Parama Premaspadam Yataha. And Yataha, because here they say, why do you say it is source of supreme happiness? And here he is giving a logic here. Yataha, because Parama Premaspadam, because I love myself the most. Really? I thought I love this, I love that, and I love that. I love myself the most. So if somebody asks you, do you love me? Says, I love you, but I love myself most. You don't have to say that because it's implied. So therefore, he says, Parama Premaspadam. It is Aspadam. It is the source. It is the locus for the Parama Prema, supreme love. And that is essentially the Atma. One loves themselves most. I love myself most. Everybody loves themselves most. How does it? So why do you say that? Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematmanichyate. Here he is providing a cause, a reason to prove that what I love, because I love myself the most, because I do not want to cease to exist. Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam. Let me not cease to, may I not cease to be bhuyasam. May I not Mana bhum bhuyasam. Mana bhum may not cease to be, and bhuyasam may I always be, and may I not cease to be, may I always be. And that is bhuyasam iti prematmanichyate. In this way, the supreme love is expressed. So what is the reason? You say that I love myself because I do not want to cease myself. I want to exist one more day or one more year. So if one fellow is in the deathbed, says, what do you want? Oh, I just want to go. I don't want all this. I want to go. Why? Because this life is miserable, and hopefully I will have a better life, because I love myself. This particular environment is not good. I want to a different environment where I can be happy, because I love myself. So the one who commits a suicide, he says he doesn't. He says mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam. Let me exist long. He says he want to end his existence. Actually, what he wants to end is not his existence. What he wants to end is the samsara, the problems that he has to be, he wants to end. And he thought by killing himself, he can end the problems. He cannot end the problems, because if it is due to karma, he has to again bear the consequence of that. And he is doing another karma by ending unnecessarily, then he will have another karma also to be experienced. So what he wants is the end of the problems that he has, and if you offer a solution to the problems, he will be happy to continue. So therefore, he loves himself, therefore he wants to end itself. It's a very interesting that he doesn't, not that he hates himself, therefore he is ending. People say, I hate myself. So what he hates is essentially some body, or the shape of the body, or the shape of this one, or shape of, if you get a better body or better something, says, kids will say, or particularly teenagers, I hate myself, I don't like my hair, I don't like this, I don't like that. They are not happy with the environment things, but if you change the environment to their conducive, then they are happy to continue. So he loves himself so much that he wants to end himself. Why? Because he wants to end the problems with the hope that the problems get ended by ending his life, without knowing that he will be bearing the problem somewhere else. So essentially, mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam. So may I not cease to exist, and may I always be idi prematma nichyati. How does it tell you about prema? Because when I love something, I want to have that all the time. The more I love, the more I want to be associated with. I don't want to be far away. That's why people cling on things that give them happiness. You depend on somebody or something that gives happiness to you, because the more the happiness you get, I am depending on more and more on that. I want to continue more. The wealth gives me more happiness, therefore I want wealth. If wealth gives me misery, then I don't want wealth also. The wealth is only not for wealth's sake, for my sake, so that I can be happy. So every object in the world, every person in the world, I love it because it's a source of happiness. I love myself, I care for only because I am the source of happiness. So therefore, I am Paranandaha. I am the source of supreme happiness, because I do not want to cease myself, and I want to continue myself. And the same sloka, similar sloka occurs in the Advaita Makaranta by Lakshmidhara Kavi. Says, Aham asmi sada bhami kadachin aham apriyaha brahmaive matas siddham satchidananda lakshanam. So Aham asmi sada bhami. Aham asmi, I am, let me be there all the time. Let me be existing all the time. I am existing and I am consciousness. Kadachin aham apriyaha. So I never hate myself, because I am the source of happiness. So here, Yamatma Paranandaha, I am source of supreme happiness. So I have source of different happiness. Morning cup of coffee is a source of happiness. I want, when I am hungry, a good, delicious food is a source of happiness. So there are many, many sources of happiness in the world. And the source of happiness of myself is the supreme among all these things. That's why it says Paranandaha. It is the highest. So why it is highest is going to go, of all the happiness, the love for myself is the most, because the love myself is most only because I am the source of supreme happiness compared to other. Now he gives you much more logic based on the Upanishads and also our experience also. Let's chant Sloka 9. Tat prematmarthamanyatra tat prematmarthamanyatra naiva manyarthamatmani atastah paramam tena Paramanandadatmanaha. Paramanandadatmanaha. Together, tat prematmarthamanyatra naiva manyarthamatmani atastha paramam tena paramanandatatmanaha. So, anyatra prema tat atmartham naeva anyartham atmani. So he gives a logic here in the first line. Tat premartham anyatra. So anyatra prema tat atmartham. So I love this, I love that. You know, children say, I love pizza, I love this, I love that, I love this, I love that. And the wife asks her, honey, do you love me? And I say, you love my wife, I love my husband, all those love, 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 love. But what exactly love is? And tat premarthamanyatra says, I love anything for my sake, not for others' sake. This is the supreme statement here. And naiva anyartham atmani. I don't love myself for others' sake, I love others for my sake. It is the other way all the time. I love pizza not for pizza's sake, I love for my sake, because that pizza brings me happiness. So what I love is myself, and I want to be happy. I love myself so much that I want to be happy, and I get pizza gives me happiness. Therefore I love pizza. So pizza is for my sake, not for pizza's sake. My love is for pizza is not for pizza's sake, it's love for my sake. And in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Maitreyi Brahmana, the statement comes because Maitreyi Brahmana is where the Yajnavalkya, the teacher, teaches the Maitreyi, his wife, and about the Vedanta. And those who want to know, we have taken the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Maitreyi Brahmana. They are available on the YouTube. If you go to YouTube and ask for Acharya Sadaji, you get the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Maitreyi Brahmana there, where the topic, whole discussion is there. And the beauty of the very introduction of that Maitreyi Brahmana, Shankara gives a brilliant commentary on that, and one has to listen to that, the very introduction itself. Anyway, here says that Upanishad says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. O Maitreyi, says this is husband teaching the wife. His husband says, oh my dear Maitreyi, that husband does not love his wife. Yeah, husband is telling the wife. Husband does not love his wife. What he loves is the happiness that the wife brings. So what he loves is only happiness. He wants to be happy. Why? Because he loves himself so much that he wants to be all the time happy. And he figured out that he becomes more happy with the wife. So wife is bringing happiness provided she brings happiness. She brings a misery, you know what happens. So therefore the love for wife is not for wife's sake. The love for wife is love for the happiness that they brings, and the happiness doesn't come from anywhere, from your own self. Therefore, tat premarthamanyatra nayomanyarthamatmana. He doesn't love for wife's sake. He loves wife only for his sake, and because he loves himself. That's why he wants everything for himself. And wife also doesn't love her husband for husband's sake. Wife also loves husband for her sake, because he brings happiness. He depends on him for happiness. So any dependence on other than yourself becomes a slavery. This is another corollary of this, is any dependence on other than yourself for happiness. I love my wife because she brings happiness. I love this because she brings happiness. I love that because it brings happiness. So everything is because I love this, I love this, I want this, I want that, because it brings happiness, it brings happiness. If it's bringing misery, I hate that one because I don't want it. because it is bringing unhappiness for me. So therefore, whatever I love, Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. I love, everything becomes a Priyam. I like because, I love because it is coming, bringing me happiness for my sake. And I don't love for object's sake, for its own. And therefore, I love myself. So this is essentially Naiva Manyartham Atmani. Ataha atasta paramam tena paramanandatatmanaha. So why I love myself? Because I am the very source of happiness itself. So we need to understand, how do you know that I am the source of happiness? Where do you get happiness? That's why we have to understand where the happiness is coming. All other happiness are only not parama premaspadam. Why it is only lower quality? Why? It's only reflected happiness only, not the original happiness. Just like reflecting consciousness, that's only reflected happiness. So when I say I love good hot cup of Madras coffee, I'm happy. Says, where is the happiness? Is it in the coffee? Yes, of course, not because other coffee somewhere else is not that great. So it should be in the coffee. No, if it is coffee, if the happiness is in the coffee, then more coffee, more happiness. Even Madras coffee, you only have one cup or maybe second cup, not more than that. If otherwise you will become miserable. And therefore, it's not in the coffee. What it is? My longing for coffee is satisfied when I have a cup of coffee. I am back to myself. I am contented by having the cup of coffee. So contentment of the mind, where the mind is now peaceful, that's where the Ananda is getting reflected. Ananda gets reflected, the mind is calm and quiet, and calm and quiet state of mind is accomplished when my desire for, when my longing for an object is satisfied. So the happiness that comes from anyatra, from all object, is only coming from my own self. It's a reflected happiness from myself through the reflection of the quiet, calm mind. Therefore, any happiness is only, I am the source of happiness. Therefore, I am source of supreme happiness, because highest happiness I am getting because my mind has become more calm and peaceful with that desire is fulfilled. The higher the longing for it, the greater the happiness that I am getting out of it when the desire is fulfilled. My dependence on the other will be increasing in the process. So the all other happiness is essentially doshastrayam. First, I depend on it to get happiness, and it becomes an addictive, and after the happiness, because the reflection goes away, the mind again gets agitated with some other desire. So there is the getting is a problem, and keeping that is a problem, and the happiness that is also is kshanikam, or it is not permanent, and also it makes me depend on that, because now I depend on coffee for making my mind quiet. First thing in the morning, without coffee, I become more and restless. You can give Vedanta, he says its happiness is coming from you and all that. All that is okay. First let me have a cup of coffee, then we can listen to Vedanta. I can understand logically, yes, it's all my happiness, but first I need a cup of coffee. Why? That addiction called bandhakatvam says that bondage is coming because I depend on something other than myself for my happiness, even though happiness is coming from me, and that's whole samsara is because of that. So it is dukkha mistrithatvam and the kshanikatvam, and it is bandhakatvam, all the dependencies. If I realize that happiness is coming from me, I don't need to depend on anything else, then I'm able to tap happiness from myself itself, then I don't depend on anything else. I don't need anything else. Therefore, for that person is a wise person, because he understood that happiness is not out there and comes from himself. Therefore, pradahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyeva atmana tushtaha and Sthita Prajna. He is called Sthita Prajna. He is the wise person because Atmani eva Atmanat. He is happy with himself because the self that is happy is Purnam, Parama Premaspadam. He is supreme source of happiness. Therefore he is satisfied. He does not depend on anything other than himself for happiness. So bondage is any dependence on other than yourself or any object or a person, then it's a bondage. If I am completely full, I can let others to depend on me because they are only tapping my only happiness because they think that happiness is coming with my association without knowing that happiness is from their self. But I cannot but pour out love because any other love is not really love because I love my wife as long as she brings happiness. There is a dependence. But if I am completely full, then my love for everybody is spontaneous. That is a real love. And that we will talk about much more in the next talk. We stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Heard a taka noise? Outside? Huh? Oh, phone. Huh?